Hi, my name is ZaKaiRan, and welcome to another one of my outrageously amazing, insanely enlightening master keys of creation about how to be the unlimited source master of divine creation that you truly are, to create the joy, love, well-being, and abundance you desire. You'll find tons more self-empowering goodies to help you become a conscious, deliberate creator of reality on my website at ZaKaiRan.com. All right, so here we go. What happens when you die? I emphasize quotes, die, and you'll see why. So my last video, entitled Death is No Big Deal, was such a huge hit, receiving more views than any of my countless other videos. I thought I would do another one on that subject because it is obviously a massive subject for the majority of humanity. So here we go. So before we get into where you go when you croak, let's go back to how you got started before you came here, before you got into your body. In other words, before you were born, because how you were before you were born is where you go back to. Where you were stationed, so to speak, before you came into your body is where you go back to. Before you were a twinkle in your parents' eyes, before they did the horizontal mambo, which facilitated the creative process of conception and birth. So where did you come from? I'm, of course, speaking about the soul you, not your body you. Before your parents did the dance with no pants, you were a twinkle in the eyes of your source self, your non-physical spiritual self, your God self, whatever you want to call it, because who you truly are is not your body. Who you truly are is a soul, a spirit. So who you truly are is an unlimited, infinite, non-physical spirit that exists on higher dimensions, as it were. And that source spirit likes to inhabit bodies because it's fun creating stuff in physical reality. It's fun experiencing all of the possibilities of physicality, such as gender and sexual orientation and desires and beliefs and nationalities and races and religions, etc., and things that you like and things that you don't like. Before your mom did squat thrusts in the cucumber patch, you as source were pondering your next physical adventure. You were pondering what you would like to experience based on your desires of what you would like to create in physical reality on the leading edge of creation, which is what this planet is. It is the leading edge of creation. Now, notice I said next adventure, because you have done this countless times before. Yes, you have reincarnated probably zillions of times. You have projected your spiritual essence into other physical bodies on planet Earth and other planets and other star systems, in all countless bodies across the universe of universes. In fact, while you're pondering this coming incarnation, you're already experiencing others at the same time, because that's the multi-dimensional, unlimited power that you have as non-physical source. And so you've decided what kind of parents you would like to have, the siblings you would like to have, your family, the country, the culture, etc., that you want to experience, including all of the diversity and contrast of unwanted things, because you knew the great variety of desires that all of this diversity inspires, desires you would not have otherwise without it. And so, because of those intentions of experience, the law of attraction starts lining up the cooperative elements that match your desires for your incarnation. And when your parents do the passion polka and conception begins and cells start forming, you start projecting yourself into that body that is being created for you by your fabulous mother. And as this body develops, you project more and more of yourself into that body. And of course, you are also merging with your mother and of course with your father as well. siblings, etc., who is graciously creating, especially your mother, though, who is graciously creating your body for you. And the more that body forms, the more of you connects itself to that body until your birthday, when you are fully connected to your physical body. So who you truly are is pure source. You are pure, unconditional love. I emphasize unconditional love. And even after you also become a physical being, as well as a non-physical being, because you're always a non-physical being, you are still pure divine source expressing itself, expressing yourself into and through your human body. And that is why babies are so irresistible, because they help us remember that we are source. They are fully 100% emanating pure unconditional love. They are pure source in human bodies. And because they have no language yet, because they basically choose to have amnesia and they haven't developed the motor skills to speak and think yet in more specific ways, they are operating basically as your source does, which is 100% vibrationally. Your desires as a baby are vibrational, like animals. Animals don't think words, they think, or rather feel and emanate and vibrate vibrations. So like animals, your desires are very simple. You want to be happy. You want to feel good. Basically, that's it. You want to be happy and you want to feel good. You want milk because it feels good. To suck on mommy's titty and be nurtured and cared for. And you know, vibrationally, that it's that beautiful milk, that pure nutritional milk is physically making you grow and be healthy, etc. And your desires are simple, like the desires that you have as source: to love and be loved, to feel good, to love and be loved and feel good, to be happy and feel good. So you want happy things, you want comfort, you want joy, you want well-being. You're not thinking those thoughts, but you're vibrating them for sure. And as you grow up and start to develop language and more specific thoughts, as your thoughts become less general in nature and more specific in nature, you are introduced by your parents, siblings, family, and society about limitation, lack, doubt, and fear, etc. And you begin, you began pure and unlimited with the inner knowledge that you could create anything you desire, and that life and creation are unlimited and infinite in nature. But then gradually, the older you get, the more illusions of limitation you are introduced by society. And of course, the more illusions of limitations you start to believe, because you're introduced to them every single day in every kind of way. It is then your choice in life to believe the lies of limitation that society believes to be true, or seek out the real truth yourself, which of course is what you have done, hence why you are watching this video or listening to this podcast. And depending on how many beliefs you hold on to that limitation is real, will determine how much joy or lack of joy you will experience in this lifetime, because who you truly are as source does not believe in limitation. And when you are focused on limitation, you will feel bad because you are out of alignment with who you truly are as source. And when you are thinking in joyful, unlimited, abundant ways, you will feel good because you are in alignment with how you as source thinks. And your limited and unlimited thoughts will also determine how healthy you will be physically, mentally, emotionally, and how long you will live, basically. And what quality of life, especially what quality of life you will have, because thought creates absolutely everything in your life, including your health and longevity, or your lack of health and longevity. Or put plainly, limited thoughts are what creates disease, plain and simply, and age. And because you have complete control, and you do, contrary to what society tells you. You have 100% complete control over your health and longevity. You have the power and control to live as long as you like, and in whatever manner you like, with whatever quality you like, based on your thoughts, whether they are positive or negative in nature, because age and disease are just beliefs. Regardless of how long you allow yourself or consciously decide to live, and regardless of the quality of life or lack of quality that you create in your life, at some point, either consciously, by you saying, today's a good day to die, quote unquote, or today's a good day to leave this reality and go to a higher one, or you, quote unquote, die unconsciously, you will be ready to move on to pure source once again, go back to where you started from. You will at least vibrationally desire to return to your pure divine source essence, because you have experienced all or most of what you desired to experience when you first came here, or you have gotten so far away from source because of so many limited negative thoughts that your only choice really at that point is to kick the bucket and release your soul from the limited mortal coil that you established for yourself in physical reality. And of course, that's pretty much the the unconscious plan that most people follow. It doesn't matter whether you consciously die or unconsciously die, or to put more accurately, whether you consciously leave and ascend or whether you unconsciously do. It doesn't matter whether you live 100 years or 1,000 years or 10,000 years. It's your choice. And it doesn't matter how amazing your life was or how shitty it was. And it doesn't matter how pure and ethical you were or how criminal and evil you were. Regardless, when your body takes the royal dirt nap, you and every single soul on earth goes right back to your pure, joyful, unconditionally loving source, essence, self. You go straight to heaven, as it were. You go straight past the pearly gates. No matter what good or nasty things they have done, everyone goes straight to pure positive love and light. Everyone goes to heaven. Nobody standing at the door with a clipboard, eyeing you up and down, going, you're not getting in, mate. Not fucking what. Because there is no such thing as judgment, or punishment, or the devil, or a dark force, or hell. Everyone is welcome back to pure love source, pure joy source vibration, with open arms and a big-ass party. And no one has any regrets or feels the need to make amends or be sorry or, feel like they deserve punishment, because there is no such thing as assertion and victimhood and punishment. And every single experience is 100% attracted. So there's no victims and no bad guys, and therefore there's nothing to apologize and make amends for. There's nothing to be punished for. Every soul that returns to source gets a big party, and we all have a big laugh, and you realize that all the big dramas and all the big traumas and the big deal you made out of everything was a big-ass joke, because there's nothing serious going on down here on planet Earth. It's just an experience of fun and joy, or the lack of joy, depending on where you focus your attention. Your first experience when you croak, when you kick the royal bucket, is one of relief, because all pressures and guilt and shame and regret and doubt and feelings of unworthiness and powerlessness and helplessness and I'm not good enough and I'm not talented enough, etc., all instantly go away, because that's all bullshit and it's all a limited crap that just does not exist, because none of those thoughts and beliefs that society taught you were real or true. They were strictly limited human ideas and beliefs that people came up with and kept thinking over and over again, and which became beliefs, and then doctrines, and then books, and then, were taught in schools, etc. But now, since you are now in pure positive love vibration, now that you're back to source, they are all completely gone. All that doubt, all that confusion, all that bullshit, all that unworthiness. And you now remember your complete divinity. Yes, your divinity, your source nature, your God nature. You remember your complete, joyful, infinite, abundant, unlimited, ecstatic, unlimited, all-powerful magnificence. And you see the value of all of the illusions of limitation that you believed while you were in a body because of what they inspired within you to create in the third dimension on planet Earth. But you don't even really think about that when you croak because that's just a given. And you don't care what happens to your body. Contrary to what people think, what should I do? Should I cremate my body? Should I bury my body? You don't care if your body gets ground up and turned into Soylent Green to feed the masses, or if your body gets left on the mountaintop to be eaten by the vultures, or if your body gets mummified and placed in a coffin for archaeologists to find 100,000 years later. When you are in heaven, your body no longer matters. But you are still interested in general of what goes on down here on planet Earth. You're still interested in the evolution of humanity, or the evolution of the Earth, what's going on in the galaxy. You're still interested in what the humans are doing and your family are doing. You're interested in what your loved ones and your siblings and your etc. That you quote unquote left behind are doing, even though, because see, in your mind, you didn't leave anybody behind. In their mind, yes, you left them. Oh, they passed away. She left me. She died. Blah, blah, blah. But in your mind, you haven't gone anywhere. You still feel 100% connected, even more connected to life on planet Earth and your loved ones, etc. You're just sitting up there having a good time watching and marveling at humanity, and you're guiding them now with your positive, loving vibration. Something that all of your past loved ones are currently doing now for you. They are reveling in being non-physical with zero limitations and zero doubt and zero confusion and zero regret, etc. So, when your body is pushing up daisies, you're doing the same thing that your ancestors and loved ones that have croaked are doing. You're guiding from the fifth dimension, as it were. You're guiding from heaven. You're enjoying being non-physical again. You're not haunting your loved ones that are still in a physical reality from the fourth dimension, trying to desperately cling to physicality. You don't care that you're no longer physical. You're just watching and guiding the physical world with your unconditional love vibration. You're enjoying the sweet relief of no longer having judgment and feeling fear and shame and guilt and etc. You're enjoying just all of that bullshit being gone. Gone are all the helpless, powerless feelings and victimhood. Because now you fully remember that this is an attraction-based universe. This is an attraction-based creation. And there is no such thing as victimhood and assertion, whereby other people or forces can somehow assert their quote-unquote evil or even goodwill upon you. So there's nothing to feel guilty about, because every single experience that every single soul has and was 100% attracted. Every single experience that you have had with anybody, you attracted it and they attracted it based on how they were thinking, how you were thinking in limited or unlimited ways. But again, you don't even think in those very specific ways because attraction is just a given. And now that you're fully back to source, so to speak, centered in your pure divine essence of infinite joy, well-being, and abundance, well, you see the big picture of everything. You see that physical expression is the leading edge of creation and literally expands the entire universe of creation and evolves this planet. The consciousness of humanity, the bodies of humanity, evolves even plant life and the animal life, because the contrast of unwanted things inspires desires for wanted things. And creating those wanted things expands creation. And all of the dramas and traumas that humanity creates inspires their desires for improvement, which evolves this planet. Because every new generation comes in already lined up with that improvement that that previous generation desired. Even if they didn't physically manifest it in their reality, they desired it. Those desires were created vibrationally in vibrational reality. And then the new generation that comes in already hardwired in with that new vibration. And that is what literally is driving the evolution of consciousness on planet Earth and what will eventually create heaven on earth. And now that you're back centered in your source nature, now you no longer feel separate from yourself as source or separate from anyone that you loved on earth. You don't feel separate from anybody for any reason, because you no longer judge anybody. You are now fully in unconditional love, and of course you love everybody, even the most wretched, quote-unquote, creature on planet Earth. You see them as love and source that they truly are. And you now feel one with all creation, all dimensions, one with the angels, one with the masters of creation and all of the dimensional beings and the ascended masters, etc. One with the fairies of the universe, one with, etc. You feel one with source, which is everything and everyone and all creation. You feel no separation whatsoever, no limitations. Again, your infinite, unlimited power of creation. And you remember that you can literally create anything you desire. And now you are free again to desire anything and create anything that you want without any self-imposed shame or guilt or judgment. And you no longer feel the need to prove your worthiness or your purity to other humans or to some sort of God, because your worthiness and purity was never, ever in question. Your divinity was never in question. The freedom you now feel as a non-physical divine spirit and the power you feel to literally create anything you desire without judgment is the same power. The very same power and the very same freedom that you now have in your physical body. And you don't need to kick the bucket to get that. It is now available to you right now. And it is a power and freedom that is available to you 24/7. And then you came in with as a little baby. But you were taught otherwise. You were taught away from it by humanity. And as soon as you can let go of all of those bullshit limited beliefs that humanity has taught you, and you accept your unlimited, infinite source nature and your infinite freedom, the sooner you will start having fun down here in your body, being the unlimited source master that you truly are, because that is why you came here. The purpose of life is joy. Nothing else, no other reason whatso freaking ever. And that conscious acceptance of your infinite magnificence while in a human body is the proverbial journey of enlightenment and ascension. And that journey is not about transcending physicality or transcending limitation as if it is real. The journey of alignment, aka enlightenment, is the process of letting go of the illusion that limitation is real and accepting that what is real is what is really, really real. What is really real and true is your unlimited, infinite nature your divine source nature, your unconditionally loving nature, your infinitely joyful and abundant nature, regardless of the supposed limitations of physicality that humanity has tried to convince you are true and real. But contrary to what humanity has taught you and you are led to believe, limitation is not real. It is just a belief, and a belief is just a thought you keep thinking over and over again until it becomes a belief, until it becomes sort of like a foundation, and people teach it and believe it, etc. And then people believe it to be true, even though it may be a complete lie. And then they call it reality. And perhaps the most limited of all beliefs held by humanity is the belief in death. But death is just a thought humanity has continued to think over and over again into a belief, and then they call it life and real and reality. But death is not real. It is not true. It is a bold-faced lie. It is not true. It is not real. It is not remotely. Anyway, so what is true? What is true? And what is real is everyone is infinite and immortal in nature. No one can or will ever die. You cannot ever die. No way. Can't be done. You're infinite. You're immortal. Bodies die, of course. Physical reality changes. But souls, spirits, never die. And that's who you truly are. Everyone wants to live forever, so to speak, because, well, we already do live forever. We're already immortal. And that whole thing of, I want to live forever in this body, hence the creation of our fascination with vampires and immortal beings and so-called immortal gods. Humanity's biggest fear, aside from being punished by some sort of insecure, jealous, white-bearded god who needs therapy, is that they will cease to exist as souls. But ceasing to exist, dying, or punishment are both just pure, utter, ludicrous fantasies. Death and punishment are the lies. And the truth is everyone is immortal, infinite, unlimited source in human bodies. And judgment is just 100% creation of humanity based on their feelings of unworthiness and feeling separate from God. And of course, you feel separate from God every time you think in negative, limited ways. And then you make up shit like, punishment and hell and so forth. Judgment is not the Lord's. Judgment is not anybody's. Judgment is not even something that happens in the universe. It's just something humans create and do. They go, I don't like that. I hate that. I want to kill that. Erroneously believing that you can kill off what you don't like and don't want. And then what will be left will be things you do want. But unfortunately, it does not work that way. The universe is not a universe of assertion. It is a universe of attraction. You can't kill or destroy what you don't want, because your focus upon things you don't want only creates more things that you don't want. The only way to create what you want is to focus on what you want. So back to judgment. No one is judged for any reason, and everyone gets in the pearly gates. No questions asked. Doesn't matter what you've done. Everyone gets in. And you are 100% in charge of that. You are 100% in charge of that. Nobody else. There's no one deciding. There's no bouncer, cosmic, angelic, bouncer deciding whether you live or die and whether or not you get into heaven or not. There's no death board of grim reapers deciding the fate of anyone. Not even your own source, your own God source, has set any limitations for you, such as you're going to die on December 12th, 2056. That's idiotic nonsense. There's no such thing as fate. Fate is bullshit. It does not exist. You literally can live as long and in any manner you choose with complete freedom and zero judgment from source, from God, etc. Again, you are not limited in any way. You are not limited in any way. You're not limited in any way, even though physical reality, quote unquote, appears to have limitations. But regardless of how long and how well you live in your current body, who you truly are as source is always and always will be eternal, immortal, infinite, and unlimited. So, now, if you want to really be happy, feel good, and feel empowered, because that's all you really want. The only reason you want anything is to feel good. The only reason you want anything is because you believe it will make you happy, because the purpose of life is joy. If you want to be happy and feel good all the time and feel empowered and feel your mastery and feel your divinity and feel your source nature and feel connected to the universe and feel connected to creation and feel connected to humanity and feel connected to nature and humans, etc., you got to live life as if that is really true. And you really 100% believe it, that you are source and you are connected to everything and you are unlimited and you are, immortal, until it becomes a knowing rather than just an idea or a belief or something that you have faith in. And that is the adventure of mastery and enlightenment or ascension or etc. And it is indeed an adventure. It is 100% an adventure. In fact, it is a daily, even moment by moment adventure, because it takes daily alignment, moment by moment alignment, and enlightenment, mastery. Alignment is not something you achieve one day and you get, some sort of diploma and then you have it forever. Because as source, you have alignment. You are the pure essence of unconditional love 24/7. You are always aligned to joy, love, well-being, and abundance, etc. You're basically enlightened forever. But as the human you, alignment to source is a moment-by-moment thing, because you're always thinking thoughts, and therefore you're always attracting, and therefore you're always creating new stuff. And in every moment, based on how you're thinking, you're either aligned to who you truly are as source, based upon how you're thinking in positive or negative ways. And of course, if you're thinking in unlimited, good feeling, positive, uplifting ways, well, then you feel great, because you're aligned with and thinking the same way as your source self. But if you're thinking in limited, bad feeling ways, well, you will feel bad because you're misaligned and thinking in the opposite way as your source. It's very simple. And based on that simple alignment principle, based upon your infallible emotional guidance system that you always have to guide yourself in positive ways, based on how you're thinking in positive, fun, unlimited, joyful ways, it is then easy to guide yourself, theoretically easy, so that every day, in and every moment, you stay in alignment with your source by just thinking in positive, uplifting, unlimited, joyful, loving, good feeling ways. By, focusing on things, people, creatures, and situations that are easy to like, love, and appreciate. It's very easy, very simple. Focus on your source self who loves you unconditionally. Focus on the unlimited, unconditionally loving, and infinitely abundant nature of the universe and creation. Focus on anything that it feels good to focus on, and you will, in those moments, be enlightened and aligned to who you truly are as source. Focus on feeling good, which is general in nature and unconditional in nature. And of course, you're going to, get what you want, which is to feel good. During those times, you will feel the unconditional love that you have, that you are, and are as source, and that your source has for you. You will feel no separation from your source and from your unlimited power. You will also feel aligned to your desires and will feel an abundance of your desires rather than a lack of your desires. And that is absolutely the key to creating what you want. That's the key to being happy, and it's the key to creating what you want. You got to feel good. You got to be happy. You got to feel, you got to think, imagine, affirm, believe an abundance of what you want as if it's already here. You got to be a dreamer, head in the clouds, crazy from humanity's perspective, because you're always thinking positively. Even though there's bombs flying all around you, you're thinking, there's got to be some good out of this. And of course, you're thinking in positive ways. You're looking for the gold, not the dirt. You're a gold miner. You're a positive thinking miner. You're a good feeling thought miner, not a bad feeling thought miner. And of course, because of that, you create and attract more good feeling things. It's always feel good, which attracts good feeling things. It's not when I get good feeling things and I'll be happy. It's get happy to attract good feeling things. And then, of course, regardless of whether you have what you want or not, you're happy, and that's what you really want anyway. So, now you know how to live in the most joyful and empowered way. I'm just giving you the keys, the master keys, the secrets of success, the secrets of joy, the secrets of abundance, the secrets to creating everything and everything you want, which of course really is the secret to being happy all the time. Now you know how to live in the most joyful and empowered way, and you know how to die, quote unquote, or rather ascend, and not really die at all. But what about ghosties who seem to live between worlds and haunt us? What about the so-called evil demons who are hell-bent on dragging us straight to hell? So, to explore that fun realm, we have to talk about dimensions. And without getting into a huge explanation of the dimensions, which of course would be a compendium of volumes of books, we as humans, to put it simply, we as humans exist in the third dimension. But we have access to the second dimension, the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, and above, depending on how open, enlightened, etc. you are. Second dimension is the telluric or elemental dimension. Telluric meaning earthian, earth dimension, related to the earth elements that make up all life on earth, which is governed by elemental beings, actual spiritual beings. The elemental beings and the elements are paid respect. They used to be paid great respect by the pagans, ancient pagans, and in pagan ceremonies and Wiccan ceremonies. Hence why, if you go to a Wiccan ceremony, a pagan ceremony, of course, they naturally call upon the elements of earth, air, fire, and water. And then, of course, the fifth dimension of spirit, hence the pentagram. The pentagram is not some sort of bullshit, evil crap that someone, some sort of devil bullshit. A pentagram is basically a two-dimensional representation of a stellated, as in stellar, as in points, a stellated pentagon, aka dodecahedron. A dodecahedron is basically comprised of 5 faces and is the shape / code of the human DNA. So it's an extremely important sacred geometrical structure. You can see images, sacred geometry jewelry on my website at ZaKaiRan.com of the stellated dodecahedron, aka the solar star. And of course, you can do a search for the true nature of the dodecahedron. Again, it's not some sort of bullshit evil crap. So back to our dissertation of ghosties and dimensions. So the fourth dimension is less physical, so to speak, and more emotional, and more feminine, so to speak, in nature, more magical in nature. It is the dimension of, quote unquote, magic and fairies and gnomes and elves and nature spirits and other such creatures that are, in fact, quite real. And we just can't typically see them unless our sight is more open to these magical realms. This dimension is the dimension one travels through when you croak, often referred to as the rainbow bridge or the beam of light that comes to all souls when their body has slipped its mortal coil. You can read any book about somebody who died and then came back, and it's the same story over and over again. They go through the rainbow bridge, the beam of light to heaven, and then decided, oh, well, I'm not done yet, and they come back. So when someone cashes in their chips, beam of light comes to give them an Uber to the fifth dimension. And all one has to do is surrender and allow and follow the light to go to heaven. AKA to go straight to pure unconditional love, back to source, back to God, if you want to use that terminology. But sometimes some people resist the light because they died with a lot of inner conflict. They don't believe they're worthy. They're suffering from a lot of guilt, shame. I'm not good enough, etc. Probably a lot of crap that they were told by religions. Perhaps they feel unworthy of God's grace, or have developed radical dependency upon someone, or feel like, they feel lost. And so they literally get lost when they die between dimensions. Their soul gets stuck in limbo, so to speak, between the third, our physical third dimension and the fifth dimension of non-physical reality of light and love. They get stuck between sort of judgment and non-judgment, or conditional love that we typically practice down here, and unconditional love that is typically practiced in the fifth dimension. They then play the parts of one of our favorite movie characters, our favorite themes of horror movies, and become ghosts. And they get codependently stuck to houses and places and people because of their unresolved issues related to people in life, and not knowing that they don't have to resolve any issues, not knowing that they don't have to make amends or any bullshit like that. They are suffering from feeling guilty or fearful about whatever, and these beings can be rescued, so to speak, by spiritually adept masters who can talk them or take them to the light, so to speak. Guide them to hold their hand, which I have done many times, holding someone's hand and taking them to the light. And this is what we, myself and other amazing beings, in my early days of awakening and mastery, I used to call boogie busting. Specifically from Extraterrestrial Earth Mission, which was an organization that I was involved with, which was all channeled material by channeled beings, or by beings in physical who called themselves extraterrestrials and who channeled extraterrestrials, but more dimensional beings. We just use the word ETs. Anyway, when we used to do that, like I say, in my early days, when we were trained to take disembodied spirits or boogies to the light. And this is something that we did regularly for ourselves and other people. I used to do it all the time in sessions. Beings that we believed were connected to us, quote unquote, haunting us or limiting us somehow in some sort of way. And who we believed we had limiting vows and agreements with. And so we actively broke those vows and agreements using techniques, using the power of decree and gently taking those beings into the light. Decrees that are in my Ascension Masters Toolkit and my free mini Ascension Masters Toolkit. But now I have a different perspective and no longer engage in boogie busting, especially because I no longer attract lost spirits because my vibration is so high all the time. And I no longer attract people that have spirits attached to them and need releasing because I'm no longer vibrating at that level, etc. But when you are in your early days of awakening spiritually, the process of enlightenment and alignment and ascension, etc., entails moving up the dimensional ladder. And at that time, I was very much interested in shamanism, which is a very sort of fourth dimensional teaching, training in nature, as well as extraterrestrials, because there are beings on every dimension. And the process of awakening leans towards ascending through the dimensions to the fifth and higher, but going through the fourth dimension on the way, a place that tends to be full of energies of conflict and control. And as one goes through the initiations to release those energies, when someone is full of inner conflict, which often happens when you're early days of awakening, because you're releasing all the crap that society has taught you, and you're kind of pissed off that you were sold a lie, and you have lots of fears and guilt and shame and doubt because you still don't understand the law of attraction, and that there's no there's no such thing as victims, and you never did anything wrong to anybody. You can be kind of energetically sort of stuck in the fourth dimension, mentally and emotionally. And so that's sort of an example of somebody who's might be quite disconnected and full of lots of regret and shame. And when they croak, sometimes they maintain that conflict instead of surrendering and letting go of all that guilt and shame and bullshit, which of course is the pathway to the light. This release of all inner conflict, fears, guilt, shame, doubt, etc., and limitation is the proverbial pathway of enlightenment. It's the proverbial pathway to living in a body like you are in heaven. Something that the spiritual initiate dedicates their life to achieving rather than just dying to achieve it. Because anytime someone croaks, anytime someone kicks the bucket, all guilt, shame, fear, etc. are completely released, unless, of course, they become ghosts and stay stuck in their old patterns of limitation. The conscious, deliberate pathway of spiritual liberation and enlightenment is where one raises their vibration to the unconditionally loving, unlimited, fifth-dimensional nature of unconditional love, pure joy, etc. Even while they are living in a third-dimensional, quote-unquote, limited body in a quote-unquote limited third-dimensional world. And when you accomplish this, you are much less negatively affected by the limiting dramas of the third and fourth dimensions. You basically have ascended in consciousness. You're operating above the dramas and traumas of humanity, similar to the process of channeling, which is connecting to and aligning with and bringing through higher fifth dimensional, unconditionally loving, pure joy, well-being and abundance frequencies into our third dimension for our alignment, enlightenment, and ascension, etc. Whereas more psychic frequencies tend to be a bit more fourth dimensional in nature. Being able to read someone's energies and their mental and emotional state is a bit more fourth dimensional in nature, but very necessary. And to see possibilities of where they are headed spiritually tends to be more fourth dimensional in nature, hence why humans have in the past feared psychics and witches for many years, because they could somehow do things that the average person couldn't do. They could see things that the average person couldn't see. Things that people knew were true but didn't necessarily want to believe, and hence why they would accuse someone of being a witch or whatever. And the best psychics and the best seers also not only access the fourth dimension, but the fifth dimension, fifth dimensional frequencies to give their clients higher guidance of where to now place their energies based on what they've been doing with their thoughts, etc. Based upon what they've been setting up previously, where to place their energies now to create a more positive outcome for themselves. Certain unscrupulous beings try to manipulate humans in the third dimension for their own agendas. And of course, this is the classical realm of demons or even just humans on planet Earth who want to control, etc., which don't, but the dark forces, so to speak, demons, don't really technically exist in the sense of how religions have portrayed them to be. There, of course, are certain, beings that have gotten lost, so to speak, disconnected from their own source, and who have, treaded the proverbial dark path. And of course, there are certain demonic-looking lizard people, but they are not, fourth dimensional entities. I mean, they may exist in the fourth dimension, but they're extraterrestrials. They are reptilians and have, dinosauric origins, and they are out there in the universe. And of course, people have maybe long ago remembered them, and it's in the sort of cosmic memory of humanity running into these characters out in the galaxy and even on planet Earth, and then maybe created these little demons in their heads. I don't know. But anyway, there's no such thing as demons that are hell-bent on dragging you down to hell. There's no such thing, first of all, as assertion, because there's only attraction. So there's no so-called demon or ghost or negative entity or ET or cabal or secret government beings can assert their evil will upon anyone. But as soon as a person plays the games of revenge and powerlessness and conspiracy and helplessness and victimhood and fear, etc., well, they attract energies and even entities and, of course, people that are similar in vibration, that think the same way, because you always attract more of whatever you are focused upon and thinking about. If you feel victimized and are hell-bent on revenge because you feel like a big-ass victim and someone has asserted their evil will upon you, you will, of course, attract energies and even possibly entities that have similar perspectives, that also have similar regrets and feel like they need to get revenge to feel better. And that's all revenge is, just wanting to feel better, wanting to feel more empowered because you feel powerless. And then, of course, you'll even create energies, especially you'll create energies that match your frequency, your negative, limited frequency. And you will certainly attract similar vibrations from other people of revenge, including situations where others want to, commit revenge against you and think you're a baddie, even though you think you're a good person. Well, you are a good person. But anyway, the point is you attract what you expect to attract, good or bad, in this unconditional attraction-based universe. And the unconditional nature of the universe will help you create anything you desire, good or bad, whatever you're focused upon. If you desire to see and hear ghosts, well, the universe is happy to line up ghosts for you to see and hear, even if they don't exist. And if you believe in demons, well, the law of attraction will unconditionally line up quote-unquote demons for you, whether they're actual dimensional beings or, for just physical beings who are lost spiritually. But essentially, there is no such thing. There's no source of evil or some grand poobah of demons tempting you to evil and wanting to, sell your soul or get you to sell your soul so that she can have control over you for all eternity. I mean, that makes great movies and great stories to control the masses. But none of that is actually true, except for the fact that anyone has the complete freedom to be, do, and have whatever they want based on the law of attraction, including being a demon or a mass murderer, etc., whatever they want. It's your choice. But even if you decide you're going to be Satan himself, Beelzebub herself, or Hitler, or whatever, regardless of what hideous things you do, at the core of your being is pure love, pure unconditional love, pure joy, and pure source. You've just forgotten that fact, which is why people go bad and become gangsters and villains and megalomaniacs, and in the context of this dissertation, become ghosts. But not all unexplained phenomena are actually lost souls. Some of the paranormal activity in a classic haunted house situation is just leftover, built-up psychic energies from all the people who lived there, sort of like psychic manifestations, because energies, once they are expressed, sort of exist forever. And, of course, there's lots of other unexplained creatures bumping in the night, many of which are very fourth dimensional in nature. You can study these in the paranormal books and documentaries, such as the Sasquatches, a.k.a. Bigfoot, and the Australian Yowie. I was just going through, and I go through it many times, through the Wooden Bong area, which is quote-unquote Yowie country, and the Asian Yeti, aka Abominable Snowman, all of which are very fourth dimensional in nature, as is all nature. Sasquatches can, in my perception, can go between the fourth and the third dimensions. They kind of exist however they want, because one person could be in the woods and see, depending on where they're at vibrationally, they would see a Sasquatch, while someone else, without the vision, won't even see them because they do not expect to see Sasquatches. Their lack of belief, their lack of openness, sort of guards them from seeing, more fourth dimensional creatures. Someone can see fairies because they believe in fairies. I do believe in fairies. I do believe in fairies. While someone else who does not will not see them. It's kind of always a matter of how much resistance do you have, or how much allowance do you have. The more allowance you have, the more you're open dimensionally. The more resistance you have, the more lack of belief you have, the lack of your ability to see and feel and hear, sort of the dimensions, as it were, you will have. And there are also a lot more unexplained creatures on this planet that the paranormal people call cryptids, like the Mothman and a lot of very ET looking creatures. So where did they come from? Are they government experiments gone wrong? Are they bizarre ET experiments? Are they imported creatures from other planets? Are they leftover from the megafauna era, the last megafauna era of our planet, where there were still giant creatures around, 20, 30,000 years ago? They're still hanging on, like the Loch Ness Monster in Loch Ness, or Champ in Lake Champlain, or the countless other amazing, bizarre creatures that, if you really have fun on the internet, that humans have found, including giants. Well, anyway, those are a lot of mysteries yet to be solved, a lot of which, of course, has to do with our ancient history of ancient civilizations, because we've been around on this planet, we as souls and even bodies, for a lot more than just 5,000 years. And of course, you can read more about those on the countless channeled books, especially from channel DTs. You can read more about that, watch more about that on my videos about ancient civilizations. But suffice it to say, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. And much more will be revealed as time progresses, especially information that will come from the ETs when we start communicating with them on a more open level. Because most of the animals on this planet were reportedly brought here from other planets. They are extraterrestrial in nature. So, of course, the more anomalous creatures probably came here from other planets as well. Anyway, I'm digressing from the main title of this vodcast just a tad. What happens when we die? And I hope I have sufficiently answered that question, and it has helped you on a few accounts. At least one, that there is nothing to fear in regards to your eventual physical demise, because you are, in fact, an immortal, unlimited spirit, not a physical, mortal body. You are a spirit having a human experience, not a human having a spiritual experience. Our bodies are strictly temporary homes that we inhabit for a while, and then move on to other physical bodies, and of course, we move on to non-physical realms. Back to source, back to our origins, back to who we truly are, back into the arms of who we truly are as source. So I hope this has helped you realize once and for all that there is no judgment, no hell, no devil, no darkness, no evil, etc. And you realize that there is only love. There is only unconditional love. There's only unconditional love. There is only infinite joy, infinite well-being, and infinite abundance. And aside from the occasional soul who gets temporarily lost between dimensions, 99.999999% of all souls go straight to heaven without passing go and without needing to collect $200. and certainly without needing to prove their worthiness to get past the pearly gates. And every single time someone, quote unquote, dies, it is a complete, joyful, ecstatic party because everyone instantly lets go of all of the limited bullshit that they believed as humans and that they were taught by religions and taught by politics and taught by teachers and their parents, etc. And then they instantly remember their infinite, unlimited, immortal magnificence. And they instantly remember their unlimited power to create anything they desire. And I hope this has helped you to start remembering your infinite magnificence, your unlimited power, your all-powerful source nature now, rather than having to take a dirt nap so that you can remember. So I hope you enjoyed this vodcast, and it has helped you in many ways. I know it did because it was freaking amazing. Anyway, please share it with your friends and bless them with these amazing teachings. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel and my podcast channel, The Master Keys of Creation. I really appreciate it. Come visit me at ZaKaiRan.com as well for tons more self-empowering goodies and support to help you become a conscious, joyful, deliberate creator of reality to literally make all your dreams come true and have a ton of fun here on planet Earth, which is why you came here in the first place. My name is ZaKaiRan, not Kanwi Shihan, and I'm here to help you remember that you are an unlimited master of divine creation and you have the power and freedom to create the joy, love, well-being, fulfillment, and abundance that you desire. Thanks again for watching my video or listening to this podcast, and I wish you immense joy and abundance on your magnificent journey of divine creation. And, of course, remember to make life a holiday. Woohoo!